Hello everyone, this is Rupali Das from RI Bhubaneswar and I welcome you all to this session of research methods in education, and today we will discuss about the concept of research proposal and the format of research proposal. And today we are privileged to have with us Professor Ramakant Mahalik sir. He is an eminent teacher, guide, mentor and researcher, and also has contributed a lot to educational research. Sir, I welcome you once again. Sir, thank you for joining us today. And sir, as per my knowledge, research is a systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting the scientific data. So, sir, could you please tell us what are the major steps and process of the research, especially educational research?
This is a starting point of doing research. So, as you said correctly, research is a very systematic process, it is a scientific process and we have to follow it. So, it is better to discuss what are the different research process and steps involved, and then we will discuss about the research proposal and its formats and how to write a research proposal. So, let me explain you very quickly and very briefly what are the different research steps that we follow. So, research always start with a research problem, because when you do not have research problem, you do not have research. The starting point is you have to identify research problem. So, how can you identify it? You can identify on your own experience, you can identify by studying the past researches, you can identify with the discussion with your peers, your friends, your supervisor. So, there are different ways you can identify the research problem and research proposal. Let us see, suppose you identified a research problem. The first step is you have identified it, and once this is topic is identified or title is decided, then you have to develop a research proposal. So, research proposal, if you see in the sequence, it is coming in the second step. We have to prepare a research proposal, and for which we will discuss very thoroughly in this session. So, once you develop a research proposal, then you will develop your tools, because tools are the data gathering which. So, you have to go to the field, collect the data, and then you have to decide the data analysis techniques, data analysis procedures. Once it is done, then you can write a research report. So, briefly if I can say that the research process always starts with a research problem and it will end with a reporting your result of the research.
Thank you, sir, for elaborating briefly and very precisely. And sir, I have a little query to know about, sir, in general, many new students or newcomers, especially new researchers, are often confused that how to start a research problem, and basically how can we identify the research problem. Sir, please, could you please tell us about this?
Yes, what you say, I agree to you. Mostly the beginning researcher, the new researchers, they face a lot of difficulty in identifying a research problem, because as I said, research problem is the starting point. If you do not have research problem, then you cannot go further. Then the question is where to start and how to start research problem. So, that is the main question. I should tell you everything, like how to start a selecting a research problem or searching a research problem, something like that. But before that, I should tell you, so what is a research problem? Research problem, this is not an ordinary problem, this is a research problem. Research problem, I mean, we have to identify such a problem and issues on which you can conduct a research, and therefore it is known as a research problem. And if you see in the education, what is the research problem? In field of education, we have issues are there, lot of educational issues, lot of educational problems, lot of like a maybe quality aspect of education. So, when you take up either issue or a problem or any quality aspect and you start doing research on it, or you start thinking to do research on it, then it becomes a research problem. So, I should tell you, research problems are the educational issues, they are controversies, they are concerns that guide us to conduct the research. And especially when you say research problem, it is different from many other things. Like people sometimes, students, they confuse research problem with the area of the study, research problem with the purpose of the study, objectives of the study, research question, hypothesis. So let me clarify this point. Research problems are very general in nature. This may be educational enrollment, it can be something effectiveness of ICT or art integrated pedagogy, something like that. But when you take area of this study, you know that in area of this study we have a lot of areas are there. In education we have philosophy of education, we have psychology of education, we have ICT in education, we have guidance counseling, we have curriculum textbook. So these are different areas. So when I say area, areas are very broad. The scope is very vast. As a researcher, you cannot conduct study on a particular area. From the area, you have to identify one specific, one limited aspect of a problem, so that you can conduct the research. Because as a researcher, you have limitations. Your time limitation, you have even financial limitation is also there. So you have a cognitive limitation also there. You cannot study everything. So therefore, once you see your area, and from the area, you can now select a small one. So when you compare educational research problem, it is general, too general. Education research problem, it can be from psychology of education, it can be philosophy of education, it can be ICT in education. This is broad, very, very, very broad. I think it's a global concept. Research problem is a global concept. And from the research problem, we try to categorize it into different areas. As I said, like philosophy of education, psychology of education, ICT in education, these are the different areas. So if you can see the difference, one is very, very broad and the area is little less. So as a researcher, you focus on mostly a area of the study. So once your area of the study you decide, then you can formulate a research problem.
Definitely, sir. You have explained very beautifully and wonderfully. Sir, could you please tell us about what are the sources of finding a research problem?
That is a great challenge before the new researchers. The many scholars, they come to me, even MA students and PhD scholars, they are coming, and they face a lot of difficulties. How can I get a problem? Suppose for me as a professor of education, I have a wide experience, so I travel to different places. So from there also I get the research idea, research problems. But you think of a MA student or a undergraduate student, they don't have such kind of experience. So they wonder. So how can I select a research problem? Where to get a research problem? So in that way, we should understand what are the different sources from which you can get the research problem. So I should tell you there are many sources are there. The first source is that we have to go for a review of related literature. I will tell you there are many research journals are available, online journals, offline journals. You have to visit to the library. So then you have to I think read the dissertations, the PhD thesis. And there is one book, very popular book, so in our time we used to follow, that is a survey of education research. That is a very thick book that was developed by the late Professor M.B. Buch from MS Baroda, and who collected abstract of different researches in the field of education and compiled it. And that was I think great source for a new students to get different research idea and different research problem, number one. And the second point I want to tell you, the professional experience. Suppose you are working in the school, you have a professional experience, you are interacting with the students, your parents. So you, from that also you sense some research problem, and that research problem you can formulate as your research title, and you can work on it. And finally, your peers can help you. Your supervisor is a great source, and constantly I suggest we have to interact with your supervisor, your guide, your teachers, so that they will give you a lot of idea. So for me, the research problems are everywhere. For as a student, you face a difficulty to identify what is this research problem. And therefore, for mainly the new researcher, you have to dive into the past research studies. You have to study the research books. You have to study research books, I mean educational psychology, but the book is based on the research. There are many dissertation theses that you have to search. Then after searching it, you will get a lot of idea, and then you can decide which research problem you want to work on it.
Okay, sir. That was very informative. And sir, I would like to ask some questions related. How can we identify a problem or selected a problem with some examples
Yes.
related?
I told you research problem is very global. Then I told you come to the area of the research. There are many areas of research are there. Teacher education is one area. Guidance counseling is another area. Sociology of education is another area. Primary education is another area. Even secondary education, higher education, there are a lot of areas are there. So first you have to decide your area of the research. Which area you want to. Then students face another problem here to decide the area. Even area, there are so many areas there, but which area I should take up? I usually suggest you there are 2-3 points you should keep in mind. I say 2-3 criteria you should keep in mind. So one is you have to select such a area where you have adequate knowledge and understanding. You have studied the subject, like you want to work on ICT in education, you ensure that you have sufficient adequate knowledge on ICT in education. You know the computer, you know the computer application, you know the mechanics of online educational learning. So first is you should have adequate understanding on the area. Only understanding is not sufficient. Again, you have to think of whether you are interested to work on the area. I have a lot of knowledge. I have seen many people, they have a lot of knowledge, but they lose their interest on that particular area. So in that case, they will not be successful. So your interest must be there. And the third criteria I should tell you, when you decide area, you should also see that area should be emerging, that area should be significant. Because the main focus of research is to contribute something, to contribute some new knowledge, some new theory, new explanation. So when it is emerging, when some area is very significant, so that also you keep in mind. So your understanding on the topic, I think on the area, your interest, then it is significant to the current time, current situation. So on the basis of 3, you can select one area, any area you can select. So once you decided area, suppose you decided, I say ICT in education or art education, you decided, the next step is you have to go for a literature review. You can, I also in my previous session, I talk much about how to do a research review. So now you have to go to the library, online sources, journals, books, extensively, very critically you have to study. And from this research review, you will identify a gap. What gap I mean, what kind of research methods already used earlier, and that you don't want to repeat. You want to do something new. You want to do something different. And therefore, you have to identify research gap. The third step is you have to identify research gap. I think this is very, very important to decide your title. Because, I don't suggest you repeat the kind of research that was already done. Why unnecessary you are saving your time and money and energy? So we have to do something new. So on the basis of research gaps, so you decide a title. And this title is something like your research problem. I'll give you one example, like, one area is the education technology. So you have gone through, a lot of research studies. You have read it. So after doing it, after making a review, you found that technology in education was studied widely across the globe, India and outside, done it. But most of the research, what you found, that is in English language. The CBSE schools in India, English medium schools in India. So then you identify a gap. So what is the gap? The gap is that limited research studies are in vernacular language schools, in Odia language schools, Odia medium schools I say, Bengali medium schools, in Tamil medium schools. So that is a research gap. And if you use that research gap, then you can formulate a research problem. Impact of technology aided teaching on students' achievement in Odia medium schools, and that becomes your title. So, you see now from the area you made a review, from the review identify the gap, and from the gap you have a research title, and this is a very specific research title on which you want to work further.
Yes, sir, definitely. This was very, you have explained very nicely and beautifully. Sir, according to you, what should be the criteria for selecting a research problem?
That's good. That's good. I think every student should know it, because when you are selecting a title, when you are selecting or formulating a title, we are not selecting, rather we are formulating a title, writing a title, and always we write a formulate a title or write a title in consultation with supervisor, because you are as a student, you have a limited experience and limited knowledge. So, you always discuss with your supervisor, then formulate a title. But when you are formulating a title, keep in mind something you have to keep in mind. The first one is, I already explained, the first one is that your title should fill the gap in the existing literature. I said there are a lot of studies on technology in education in CBSE English medium schools, limited research studies in vernacular medium schools. So, now if you are formulating a title that impact of technology aided education or teaching on students' achievement in ODI medium schools, your research study will definitely fill the gap in the existing literature, and that should be the first criteria. Don't formulate any title or any problem. I think don't select any such problem, that simply you are repeating it. And the second one is, sometimes you want to study on ICT, but in ICT, I don't want you to repeat the same kind of study that done by others. Repetition is a wastage of time. In research, we have to repeat, but in a different context with a different set of tools. So, therefore, the second problem you should see that, am I repeating the research problem that already done by others? If yes, what is the new dimension I have added? I said new methods, new tools, a new context. So, then you have to see that when you are formulating a research problem, you have to see that what new dimension, what new context I am adding it. And the another criteria I should tell you, when you are formulating a research problem on any area, we have to see that who are the people who were not reflected in the research. I am talking about your area of the study or your sample. Sample, as I said, either any research study was done taking tribal students as a sample, Santali students as a sample. If that was not done, you should formulate a research study on that, because our target here is, when you formulate a research problem, you should see that our research problem is reflecting, I think, representing all categories of students, a diversity of the learning. So, therefore, I suggest those who are not represented in the earlier research, past research on urban schools, but either any research study on rural schools or tribal schools, because the kind of minority, they are not represented in the researches, and that you want to bring. And this is the time when you are formulating a title, this is the time when you can bring these people. And always you should keep in mind that when you are selecting a research problem, you should keep in mind that whether my research problem or my research title is contributing for the quality improvement of something or quality improvement of education. If the answer is yes, then you are in the right direction. If the answer is wrong, you have to rethink on that.
So, thank you so much for briefly described. And sir, as we know, whenever we will do any work, first of all, we are doing some plan or something. In research, we are also doing make a research proposal. So, sir, according to you, what is exactly the meaning of research proposal?
Very correctly you said, like if you want to do anything successfully, anything systematically, you need a plan. Even in our day-to-day life and a daily life also, whenever we want to do something big or something very systematic, then we plan it. Similarly, in research, we have to plan it. Some people say this is a research plan, some people say this is a research proposal. So, research proposal or developing a research proposal is very, very important. If your research proposal is well documented, well prepared, I say your 50% work is done. Because research proposal is something that will guide you in the entire phases of the research. And therefore, I always suggest my students to spend time and prepare a good research proposal. I will tell you what is this research proposal. So, research proposal, as I say, it is a plan that explains what you want to do, what is your objectives, how you want to do, what is your method, process, strategy, to whom you want to do, who are your sample, how you want to analyze, that talking about your data analysis. So, these are some of the questions that is, the answer is reflected in the research proposal. Because if you are narrating everything in a document, that becomes a research proposal. I should also tell you, research proposal is always a formal document, because it is required for your registration, it is required for the funding. Because if you are not preparing a research proposal, how you will get a registration, PhD registration? No university will give you without a written research proposal. So, therefore, I say it is a formal document, it should be approved by the research committee of the university or the institution. And the second point is, if you are applying for some fund, you want to get fund from UGC or Indian Council of Social Science Research, then you have to prepare research proposal. Because research proposal is the basis on which you will get the fund, your scholarship you will be getting. So, therefore, research proposal, the document is a formal document, this is an official document, and it is a plan. One thing many times students confuse, sir, you say this is a plan, whether we will follow it as it is in the future? Definitely the answer is yes. If you are preparing a plan as a researcher, you have to try to follow each and every step, each and everything that mentioned in the research proposal. You have to try to follow it. In case of emergency, you are not able to follow it, you can digress. But sometimes in a quantitative research, you have to follow it. But in qualitative research, sometimes what happens, the researchers change it. Because you plan something, but when you go for doing qualitative research, then you may face some kind of difficulty or challenges, then slightly you can change it. But still I say, like research proposal once you prepared, it is the duty of the researcher to follow it, try to follow it as it is. Because otherwise you will be having a problem. When you submit your PhD thesis and the evaluator will ask you, you show your proposal. And the evaluator will compare your proposal and with your final work. And that should match. Therefore, the research proposal should be well documented, it should be prepared systematically, and it should be followed during your research till final submission of the thesis or final thesis of submission.
Thank you so much, sir. You have explained very nicely about the concept of research proposal. As we know, a research proposal is not only just a paper or document format, but it is also a plan, guide, and which helps us, the researcher, and also helps the evaluator, and so on. So, sir, could you please tell us what is the format of the research proposal and how can we write the research proposal in a proper way?
Research proposal has a very specific format, and it has certain important elements, important steps. I will explain one by one.
Sir, I would like to explain the steps. Like, as we know, the format of research proposal starts with the title of the study. After the title, then we should go to the introduction, then review of related literature, and then rationale of the study. Then we should formulate the objectives, and then hypothesis, research questions, and
Operational definitions also.
yes, sir, on scope of the study, and then methodology of the study, and expected implication or outcomes, and after that reference.
Finally, you also write the references.
Yes, sir.
But you know, as a beginning researcher, as a new researcher, you face a lot of challenges in developing a research proposal. Like if I start with a title of the study, and every research proposal start with a title. So how to formulate a title, how to write a title. So that is a big challenge for the new researcher.
Yes, sir. But according to the FVA format, what should be the title look like?
Title, there are 2-3 points I would like to say you about the title. Like, when you are writing title, we should see that the title should indicate the major purpose of your study. If I read your title, or anyone read your title, can get what is your major purpose, what method you may be using. So that should come out from your title. Sometimes I also see that, title some people write for, the 5 sentences. So that becomes a very lengthy. I am suggesting don't go for a lengthy title. You try to formulate a title in a brief but in a very clear manner. In the title, you should indicate the variables and its relationship, the variables and different demographic variables. So you have a main variable and you have a demographic variable, and title should indicate that. So your title should be very, very clear, because you should always see that title is something like a door to your home. Your door and home. From your door, I can guess, the quality of your home. Similarly, if I read your title, from the title itself, I can get the idea. So, what is inside? What you are planning? So, we should be very careful when you are writing a title.
Sir, you have explained very informative way. And sir, after title, we are generally writing introduction. In the introduction, what should we write, or what should we follow the proper key terms, like what should we include in the introduction? Sir, could you please tell us?
Exactly. After writing the title, then you start writing about the introduction. So introduction, if you just repeat the word introduction, you are introducing your topic, you are introducing the variable, you are introducing your title, your research problems. So in introduction, I always suggest we have to explain the concept, the theory of the variables. In your title, suppose you are using a title, impact of ICT integrated learning on students' achievement. Your main variable is ICT integrated learning and then achievement. So in introduction, you have to explain what is ICT integrated learning, what are its historical perspective, what are its thematic perspective, what are its theoretical perspective. So that must be very clearly and briefly explained in introduction. And you have a second variable, like you say achievement. So achievement also you have to explain it. The intention is that anyone read your introduction, they can understand the concept, the nature, the theory of the variables that you want to study. You should not make it a very lengthy introduction. Proposal maximum 2 to 3 pages. If you are writing introduction, that is good.
Thank you so much, sir, for explain very well manner. And sir, after the introduction, generally we go to the review of related literature. So sir, how can we exactly present our review of related literature in the proposal? Sir,
Because
could you please tell us?
Good. That's review. Once your introduction is over, you have clarified your concept. Then we are coming to the review of research studies. I am telling this is review of research studies. So your focus is on collecting the research studies related to your variables, your title. Then presenting in an analytical way and a critical way. The review, because review is important, because review will identify the gaps. Review will tell you what is the research gap, why you are conducting this study, what are the suggestive methods, what are the suggestive tools, what are the suggestive way to analyze your data. So in the research proposal, the length of the research proposal is limited. You cannot write so many pages for the research proposal. It's a brief document. So therefore, in the review, don't present very exhaustively, very comprehensively. So try to present the review in a very brief way. Try to summarize
Sir,
the main findings.
yes, sir. So do we go to the year wise or like something else?
Some people, there are two ways the people present the research studies. Some people, they present chronologically. You said year wise. Chronologically they present it, and that becomes very mechanical. But rather, I will suggest you, when you are going for a review in a research proposal, go in a thematic way. Suppose you have 3 variables you are conducting, and in a single variable you take and thematically, explain or present the research studies. Then another variable, and finally, in one paragraph you take it and try to integrate, try to correlate findings from different variables, and that will indicate the research gaps.
Yes, sir. Sir, after the review of related literature, then we go to the rationale of the study. And as we know, in the rationale, some of the newcomers are writing just like a paragraph or some wordy sentences and in descriptive manner. But what is the proper way we can write a rationale of the study?
Rationale is very, very important, because rationale, if you are not able to write a good rationale, you are not able to justify your research study. Because I said there are so many research problems are there, so many research areas are there. But why you have chosen this particular area and particular study? What is important? So in the rationale of the study, you are writing the significance. So you can do this from different dimensions. The first one is, from the research study, you have identified a research gap. So in the rationale, you try to highlight that. This is the research gap I am finding from my research studies, past research studies. And on basis of that, I feel there is a need for conducting research in this particular research problem. Besides that, when you write a rationale of the study, you also see what is the emerging problem, emerging context, emerging policies. So you see, nowadays, National Education Policy has suggested and given a boost for technology in education. So you can also add that one. What the policy documents are telling, what the government policies are telling. Try to link the present policy document and other research studies to your research title, like National Education Policy, National Curriculum Framework, or any government policy document. Because here actually you have to try to establish that what you are doing, or the kind of research proposal you are developing, or the kind of research that you are proposing is relevant for the present day society. So this is very, very important.
Yes, sir.
Because your rationale, rationale is helpful for your registration. Because when you present your proposal before the research committee, they will see what is your rationale. If you are asking for some kind of fellowship, some kind of sponsorship from UGC or university or any institution, they will read your rationale. So rationale is very, very important. It's not limited to one paragraph. At least 1-2 pages you have to narrate it from different dimensions. And again also I want to tell you, this rationale can be presented by giving empirical evidences. I think census report is coming, National Achievement Survey is coming, All India School Survey reports are coming, All India Higher Education reports are coming. So these are the empirical data. So you can also connect your research title with this empirical data and establish your research title is very relevant, is significant, or it can help to solve the problems of education in future.
Yes, sir. Definitely, you have explained very well. And so, after the rationale of the study, generally we go to the operational definition of the key terms. And sir, what do you understand operational definition of the key terms?
There are two terms students are used to confuse. One is definition, another is operational definition. Definition is a general meaning of the terms. Suppose you say ICT. If you ask me ICT, I will say this is use of computer. If I will ask you what is ICT, you may tell this is use of internet. So this is a common meaning. It is different from individual to individual. That is fine, no problem. But in the research studies and especially in the social science research and education research, we should define the term in an operational way. I mean, what is the definition of the concept, the variable that you are using for this particular research study? So what is the meaning of ICT integrated teaching for this research study? I will define ICT integration means use of video, use of PPT, use of mobile applications, and during my teaching. You may define differently. There is no single operational definition for all variables. It will vary from researcher to researcher. And therefore, we should be very careful. Because this operational definition will help us in designing the tool, in interpreting the results. Because operational definitions are usually we take from the theory. In introduction, I told you, in introduction you are trying to define the variable from different theoretical angle. So many theorists, so many pedagogues, they have given the explanation about different variables. So, but which theory you are using here? Which definition or whom definition you are using here? So that you have to use and write your operational definition. It is a definition on basis of theory, basis of any researcher that researcher want to use for this particular piece of research.
Yes, sir. But if you will see, some students are also writing like they are also borrowed from another researcher's ideas and thought, just cited and just written. So, but this is a proper way to write.
Sometimes, as I said, operational definition. Suppose 10 people has conducted research on a particular theme, like AI in education. They have defined AI in education different way. But out of these 10, I like one definition. I feel this is more comprehensive. Then I can take that definition and define my term AI in education. So there is no problem here.
Okay, sir.
Because operational definition is not your definition. The definition has some theory. Definition has some basis.
And
So
also
it can
that person use in their study.
They have used it. If you want to use their definition, their tool, there is no problem.
Okay, sir.
But only you have to declare that so originally this definition, or I have taken this definition from so and so. So you can use it. But every research or every research proposal should include a operational definition and a very clear cut operational definition. It will help the reader, it will help the researcher, it will help the evaluator to understand your entire research.
Yes, sir, definitely. But after the operational definition, generally we go to the objective. But some of the researchers are also writing like first research question, then objective. Then what should be the proper?
Okay. Like, when you say objective research questions, some studies you will find objective and research question both. Some studies you will find only objective. Some studies you will find only research question. So there is no right or wrong answer here. I say mostly the quantitative studies, people go for objectives. Then they come to the hypothesis. In case of qualitative research studies, people go for research questions. And in qualitative research study, they don't have hypothesis. So now it is up to the researcher. Suppose I am doing an experiment, for me objective is important. So research question is not required. I will prepare some hypothesis. But suppose you are preparing a case study research proposal, then you have to prepare a research question. Research question gives a clear-cut direction. What you want to find out, what you want to study. So that is more important.
Yes.
So research question, I always suggest scholar, you prepare research question even if you are preparing objectives. If you are preparing both research question and objective even for quantitative research, there is no harm. Rather it gives more clarity. Because question means you will try to find out the answer. And that is the main purpose of research. Purpose of research is to find out answer to the research question. So you can write both objective and research question, but you have to see whether it is quantitative, whether it is qualitative, whether it is required. But another concept, like most of the times in quantitative research we go for hypothesis. We have a null hypothesis and we have a directional hypothesis. But when to formulate null hypothesis, when to formulate directional hypothesis. And sometimes we see students, they are very fascinated about preparing null hypothesis.
Yes, sir. There is no significant difference.
There is no significant impact. There is no significant impact. So you can write both objective and research question. And in qualitative research studies, people go for hypothesis. students are very fascinated without understanding logic behind it. So I should tell you here, when you are preparing null hypothesis, that should support your previous research studies. I mean, you have made a lot of research reviews, and the research reviews indicate that there is no clear-cut direction. Some people are telling ICT improves students' achievement. Some people are saying ICT has a minimal impact on students' achievement. So here you are not getting a very clear-cut direction, the impact of ICT on student achievement. In this case, as a researcher, you are not clear. So therefore, you should go for a null hypothesis. There is no significant impact of ICT integrated teaching on students' achievement. But in other cases, you see research studies indicate that ICT or art integrated teaching creates a joyful learning in the class. So there is so many researchers
already told
about it. Then now you can prepare a direction hypothesis.
Yes, sir.
Like ICT integrated teaching will improve students' achievement, or art integrated teaching will create a joyful learning atmosphere in the class. So as a researcher, you have to see what other researchers in the past found out. So therefore, I always say research review is important. That is the really foundation for doing a research or for preparing a research proposal. So we should be careful. And we always suggest to the student, when you are writing hypothesis, what is logic? What is logic for writing a direction hypothesis? What is logic for creating a null hypothesis? That we have to mention in a research proposal.
Yes, sir. So you have clarified all the doubts very well. But sir, I have a doubt that is there any difference between non-directional hypothesis and null hypothesis, or whether it is same?
When you say non-directional hypothesis are null hypothesis, but in null hypothesis itself is a non-directional. It can happen either way. When I say there is no impact of this, or when I say there is no significant difference between this and this, there is no significant difference. So it can be either direction, maybe positive direction or negative direction,
Yes, sir.
and then it is non-directional. But in case of directional, you are telling ICT integrated teaching, improve the students' learning, directional. Improvement is the direction. You say art integrated learning, improve the classroom atmosphere, then it is a directional. So null hypothesis itself is a non-directional. It is not telling it is more, it is higher, or it is better, or it is not better. Null hypothesis is not telling. Null hypothesis itself is a non-directional.
Okay, sir. Sir, after the hypothesis, generally we go to the scope of the study. Then what about your ideas on it?
Because when you write a research proposal, you should also maintain scope. Scope means the boundary of your study. This is geographical boundaries. Like for example, you want to study only the schools located in Bhubaneswar. That means your sample will be selected from Bhubaneswar only. Then your boundary is, your scope is Bhubaneswar city. And if you want to study the schools located in Odisha, your boundary is Odisha. The scope of the study, it is usually your area. Area means geographical area that you want to cover, or from where you want to select your sample. So that is the scope of the study. It is very important to understand, the relevance of your research. If your scope is Odisha, then definitely you are doing a bigger study. When your scope is only Bhubaneswar, then you are doing a smaller kind of study. The scope we have to also write in the research proposal.
Yes, sir, definitely. But there is another queries like, is there any difference between scope of the study and delimitation of the study?
Some people they use either scope of the study, some people they use delimitation. I think both are same for me. Delimitation also says what is your area. This is not limitation, this is delimitation. I mean the area that is covered under the study. Scope and delimitation are same. It mostly convey the geographical boundary of your study.
Sir, only confined to geographical area or?
Yes, the scope is only limited to geographical study. But some people they write
Some
like this is
methodology or
this covers only survey method.
हाँ,
This covers
Yes.
only this number of sample, not required. Because this point, your sample, you are explaining in the methodology. So here your boundary only. Suppose I say 20 secondary schools of Bhubaneswar city. This is my delimitation. The main focus is on your boundary. Whether it is Bhubaneswar or it is a one district or it is an entire country. So that is geography. But people write about so many things. But for me, scope is only geographical. What is the limits of your research?
Yes, sir. You have explained very precisely. After the scope of the study, generally we go to the methodology of the study. Then what is your viewpoint on it?
Because, in a research proposal or any kind of research, the method is the heart. If your heart is okay, then everything is okay. So methodology, under methodology, you have to write your method, whether it is survey method or experimental method. So that depends upon your variables, that depends upon your objectives. If it is quantitative, then you can use either experiment or survey. It's qualitative, you can go for grounded theory, ethnographical study, okay, case study. So but exactly you have to write which method you would like to follow during your research study.
Yes, sir.
Which method. And one thing also I want to tell you that why this method you feel is suitable. Suppose you say, I will conduct this study by following a survey method. You have to write why survey method is ideal for this problem. Then your sample, you have to also write about the sample. Two things which is very important for sample. One is your size of the sample. Second one is what is the technique of selecting the sample. So these 2 points you have to clarify very. How many teachers, how many schools, how many parents, whether it is random sampling will be used or stratified random sampling will be used or purposive sampling will be used or snowball sampling will be used. That we have to write here.
Yes, sir, definitely. Sir, I have another query is like, what is the difference between method and design?
Some people they are confused. Method and design. Okay. I'll tell you first. The first one is the design. Design is a very comprehensive. So design is a qualitative design, qualitative design, and mixed design. These are the 3 major designs. Design, under each design, there is a specific methods. When I say design is based on certain assumptions. Design is based on certain characteristics. In quantitative design, there are certain assumptions are there, certain characteristics are there, and certain methods are there. Similarly, qualitative design and mixed method design. So therefore, the method is included in the design. Method is one part of design. One design, several methods.
Then design is the broader term than method.
Even in research proposal, when you are writing, you can write quantitative design would be followed.
Yes, sir.
And experimental method will be used.
Yes, sir.
Qualitative design will be followed. Grounded theory method will be used. So that way also you can write. It will give a clear idea about what method, what design you are following.
Yes, sir. So after selecting the designer methods, then we go to the data collection procedure.
I think data collection and tool development.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Tools, you have to write in the research proposal whether you are using a standardized tool, whether you are preparing a tool on your own. So there is nothing harm in using the already standardized tool. There are many researchers, they have worked on it. They have designed the tool. So that also you can use. But before using that, you should ensure that tools are relevant, that tools are useful for you. If you feel that these tools are not useful and relevant, then you can develop your tool. But again, when you are developing the tool, I would also suggest you also follow the tools already developed by others. Once your tool is there, then you have to write also technique of data collection. Tools and techniques are different. Technique, I mean how the data will be collected. Whether individually you will be going and collecting data, or you are sending a mail to collect the data, or you are using a Google form to collect the data, any online apps you are using for collecting data, that also to be done. That is part of the data collection and techniques of data collection. And the last part, you will be using how you will analyze your data. In the research proposal itself also, you have to write what is your plan of data analysis. That depends upon the nature of your data. Quantitative data, you have to use statistics. Qualitative data, you can use a thematic analysis or any kind of content analysis. So that you have to decide on basis of your data, quantitative or qualitative.
Sir, thank you so much. You have described very well mannered. After the methodology, then we go to the expected outcomes or implication of the study. Sir, what is your viewpoint on it?
Actually, in a research proposal, we should also mention what is the expected findings or what is the expected implications, because research is always outcome based. Research is always purposive. We are doing research not only for the sake of doing it, we are doing because we want some output, we want some results. So here you are designing a proposal only, but still you can write down what is expected from your study, what kind of findings it is expected. It may not, when you finally conduct the research, you may not get the same result, don't worry, but what you are expecting, that must also be written.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for you have explained very nicely. After we go to the reference section, sir, according to the APA format, what should be the style of reference? And generally, we're writing some different style in the proposal and thesis dissertation. Sir, what is your viewpoint on it?
Yes, every research proposal should include references. References, I mean the list of the books, the list of the authors that you mention inside the proposal. All should be listed here in APA format. We are following APA, American Psychological Association format. They have given the 8th edition of the APA manual, so that you can follow when you are writing references. Of course, there are other referencing tools are also there, like you say Chicago manual, that also you can follow it, but in most of the cases in our university, we follow the APA manual. Every proposal should include the reference, only reference, not bibliography. Bibliography is a reference plus. Bibliography usually we use in the thesis, dissertation, because the details you are giving. But in proposal, your scope is limited. You are not writing so many pages. Maybe 15 pages, 5,000 words is enough for writing a research proposal. So you only write the references, the books, the authors to whom you have cited inside your research proposal.
Yes, sir, definitely. You have elaborated very precisely and briefly about all the format of research proposal. You have mentioned that how can a title should be suitable, and according to the APA 7th edition or latest 8th edition, I guess. And you have also explained about the steps of research and the concept of research problem, and also the criteria, what are the criteria should be, sorry sir.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's after writing the references, your proposal is ready. Now you can submit to your supervisor, or you can submit to your department research committee, you can submit to the university for getting registration. And for me, if I will give you a final word, like research proposal is the heart of your research. If your proposal is okay, then definitely your research work will be very effective and very successful, and easily you can do it. And therefore, as all students, I want to tell all the students, they should take care of preparing a good research proposal. That is enough. So if you are preparing a good research proposal, then your other things like development of the tool and deciding methodology, collecting data, other things will automatically happen, because your plan is important.
Yes, sir, definitely. You have explained very systematically and precisely. Sir, I have a query that, like, last but not the least, Sir, earlier you told that whenever we are selecting any problem, we should go through the trends of educational research. So, could you please tell us what are the major trends in educational research?
You know, when you talk about, trends in education research, there are 2-3 elements are there. Trends in terms of the emerging area of the research, trends in the terms of the emerging methods of research. So, if you say emerging area of the research nowadays, since technology is everywhere and technology has greatly influenced our life, then one of the major area that is coming up is the technology and specifically AI in education. So, we have to work on now AI in education, the machine learning in education, coding in education, computational thinking. So, these are the emerging area that is coming on that is related to education. And the second one emerging area is coming up because National Education Policy has recently said, like highlighted, mother tongue based education. Research is required. In India, we are lacking this mother tongue based education. So, we have to now do research on mother tongue based education. Education in Odian language, what is the effect? Education in Tamil medium, what is the effect? So, that we have to see. And when I am talking about the methods, trends in the methods, now we are emerging methods is coming, that is mixed method research. Quantitative, qualitative, they are also okay. I am not against any qualitative or quantitative, but the emerging area we are coming where we can include both qualitative and quantitative research methods.
Indeed, the session was very informative, and sir have also explained very beautifully all the things. And in this session, we have learned so many things regarding the preparation of a research proposal. And thank you so much, sir, for joining us today and enlightened with your knowledge and experience. Thank you so much, sir.